are you doing? Today we've got a whopping 23 meets and the Penn Relays to cover, so let's just jump right in. On the 22nd, beginning in Maine, we have the Telstar Regional, which was won by Carter Butterfield of Mount Abram in 10:01:10, and Felicity Love Hoyt from Mountain Valley in 11:57:33. On the 23rd at Wiscasset, Samuel Louide Venitis of Lisbon won in 9:05:72, and Cassie Booker of Lisbon took her race in 9:47:12. And over at Haldale, we had Joseph Zakakis of Winthrop in 9:48:96, and Hannah Perkins of Spruce Mountain in 9:49:90. At Biddeford, Matthew Melvin of Sanford won in 9:38:58, and Catherine Warden of Deering took her race in 12:37:27. Moving on to the 24th, again, we're still in Maine. At Portland, we had Ryan Morin of Noble in 8:34:50. And at Mount Blue, we have Rowan Donahue of Lincoln Academy, who broke 8 with his 7:54:95, and that converts to a 7:57.7 for the mile and makes him US number 3 at that distance. So congratulations to Rowan. Brielle Tinker of Mount Blue took the girls' race in 9:04:72. And Messalonsky, we had Phineas Scherer of Levitt area in 8:04:73, and Leilani Mitchell of Edward Little in 8:38:78. Moving over to Bonnie Eagle, we have Rowan McDonald of Bonnie Eagle winning in 7:36:92. And just like in the last edition, we also have another Rowan Driscoll. She took her race, and she's from Scarborough, and she walked at 10:44:84. Quickly moving to the 25th at Sacopee Valley, Rahel Delaney of North Yarmouth Academy won in 8:50:20. And then to Kennebunk, we have Anthony Palmieri of Kennebunk in 9:02:55, and Adriana Rogau of Falmouth in 11:02:12. At the Erskine Academy meet, we have Luke Blair of Erskine Academy in 9:31:28, and Natalie Grant of Gardner took her race in 8:40:90. And the last race on the 25th is at Ellsworth with Juliana Hesseltine of Matanawacook Academy, that's a mouthful, in 10:48:14. Moving over to the 26th, still in Maine, we are at York, where Hans Baki of York won in 8:25:57, and his teammate Brooke O'Neill won in 10:17:38. At Mount Ararat, Amia Kennedy of the host school won in 9:49:92. And at Lewiston, we have Zachary Croy of Brunswick in 8:54:81, and Taylor Ward of Winslow in 9:28:09. At Hampton, we saw Nolan Ainsworth of Central take the win in 10:14:14. Moving to Cape Elizabeth, Thomas Leggett Barr of Greeley won in 7:42:75, and that converts to a 7:45:5, which puts him at US number 2 for the mile. And Wenxin Liu of Cape Elizabeth took the girls' race in 11:15:31. At Bucksport, Zane Rogenbuck of Orono walked at 7:42:35, and that had him jump just ahead of Thomas Leggett Barr into the number 2, when it moved Leggett Barr to US number 3 with the 7:45.2 time with the conversion to the mile. And Abigail Farraker of Bucksport won in 9:05:84. And as we roll into the weekend, things got really busy, and we move a little bit to New York as well. At the Bob Pratt Invitational, Julia Wang of Cold Spring Harbor won her race in 7:43:46. At the His and Hers Invitational over 1,600 meters, which is uncommon in New York, as most of the races are still 1,500, Liam Sennett of Gananda won in 9:27:22 for the boys, and Ray Stites for the girls on from Fairport won in 9:28:29. On the eastern end of Long Island at the West Hampton Invitational, Lauren Quinn of Connecticut took first in 7:40:64 for US number 8 at 1500, followed by Dylan Cashin of East Hampton in 7:41:05, which is US number 9, and Sophia DiCiero of West Babylon in 7:56:85, which is US 14. At the Croton Relays, two different divisions. In the A division, we had Arisa Specchi of Peekskill in 8:51:05. And in the B division, Chloe Howard of Hendrick Hudson took her race in 8:18:50. And heading back up to Maine, at the Mount Desert Island meet, we had Wesley Hitchcock of Caribou in 8:46:03, followed by Elizabeth, I'm sorry, not followed by. In the girls' race, it was Elizabeth Wing of Caribou, his teammate, in 10:26:92. And the last meet in Maine was at Bangor. We had Alex Serlis of Fort Fairfield in 12:02:56, and Cassidy Carlisle of Presqua Isle for the girls in 8:17:76, which converts to an 8:20.7 mile and the US number 3 time. Moving to the big meet of the weekend, and it ends up being the most major event of the season, at least in the spring before we get to championships and USATF and AAU meets, the postseason stuff, and then all the sneaker meets. And on top of that, the Penn Relays ends up having the most quality fields, deepest fields, biggest fields, number of races, and generally lays out the path for what you're going to see at 3,000 or 5,000 meters through the rest of the year. The three races that we previewed went almost exactly as expected, which, a little pat on the back for myself. Normally, I don't get that as right as I did this one time. But looking at the action, we had our Irish visitor, Savannah O'Callaghan. She controlled the high school girls race from the start. She really wasn't pressed by the competition. She pretty much walked her own race. And her dad won better by taking home the gold. The silver her dad won many years ago at Penn in a time of 25:29:04. The 13 girls behind her all had tremendous performances, with 5 of them under 27 minutes and 10 of them under 28 minutes. And you can see all those times in the high school performance lists on hsrw.net. And here we've got some highlights from the girls' action in the high school girls race. Adding in the women's under 20 results in their race where they were combined with the Masters women and the Open women, we had another sub 28 performance by Shaina Patel, and all 17 finishers between the two races were under 30 minutes, which is a really good performance. This made a serious addition to the U.S. performance lists at 5,000, the race distance, along with the 3,000-meter splits being added as well. At 3,000, we have the U.S. number 1 through 5, number 11, 14 and 15, and 17 and 18. And at 5,000 meters, we have US 1 through 4, 6 through 10, 11 through 15, and 17. So congratulations to those athletes for their tremendous racing and the achievements that they had on the track at Franklin Field. And here are some highlights from the women's under 20 competition for you. Moving to the men's under 20 competition, Rowan McDonald won in 23:58:66, holding off a challenge, not from the expected competitor Colin Graham, but from David Durantes. Regrettably, Durantes' technique resulted in a post-race DQ notification, elevating Graham to second. A noticeably smaller field than the girls was no less impactful on the performance lists, with everyone making the mark at both 3,000 and 5,000. In both distances, we had the U.S. number 1 through 4 and number 6 times. So congratulations to those guys. And we'll finish off the video today with the men's under 20 highlights. Please support the channel with your subscription and merchandise purchases, and thank you for watching.